Hello, amazing entrepreneurs. If you can be on video with us, we love seeing your smiling faces. Happy Wednesday for some of us, already moved to Thursday for other of us. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I'm excited about every day. I mean, I love the content of this, but we're going to be going into even more depth of what you're doing. And I just want to encourage you to be patient with yourself, to just relax and breathe, and to don't in any level feel like you have to know everything today, because you don't. This is the starting place. This is the place of you get as far as works for you right now, and then you keep going. So just drop in the chat one word about your excitement today, like how are you feeling, what you're thrilled about, anything you want to, just one word drop in for us. Yes, understood. Cute. Ecstatic. All right, Jack, I can see you're like taking it in. Yes. What else we got? I'm feeling awesome. Love it, Hildegard. What else we got? I'm just jazzed to be here. I'm gonna use jazzed as my word today.
I love it.
What's your word, Donna?
Caffeinated. I'm super excited because this is actually my favorite topic.
I love it.
Mastering your market, building your little business models and getting clear on all of that. I have many favorites, but it's my favorite.
Love it. I can't wait to go into it. So everybody, I just want to say thank you for all the people who personally sent me your submission. However, I'm going to have to ask you to please, let's test the main submission place and drop that in. I'll put it in the chat in a minute. Love it. We've got eager, we've got ready, we've got excited a couple of times. Excellent. I will drop the place to put your submission for day 2 in, and do it in the break so you can hear everything that Donna says. And actually, there's another thing that I'm going to drop in that I want you to do during the break too. I'll drop it in like toward the break, because I want to commend this woman who has been our mentor for 3 days. This will be our 3rd day. She has been going above and beyond the call of duty, getting up and staying up all night. I shouldn't just say getting up, because I don't think she gets to even have a good rest in between. We want to deeply honor Donna today, and I'm going to drop in the link for you to give her a review. Well, Susan, I love your new place of business today. That's awesome. But Donna,
on a super yacht, are you?
I know, don't you love it? Yeah, let's all be there. Donna, truly, honestly, it amazes me day after day how on so little sleep and so much caffeine, you are able to bring so much wisdom. And just
Olivia's back.
Know, right?
Doubling up. You are on my morning session.
He's taking it all in, right? So yes, Miss Donna, go ahead and get us started for the day. We're very grateful to you.
You're not letting people know. I will let you know then what we're up to for today. All right. So today is about mastering your market, and we have 4 sessions today. We've got the first one where we are looking at how it's really understanding what the context of this piece of mastering your business is all about, and how you can become a trusted brand. And we'll have a look at what does it mean to be a trusted brand. Then in the second session, we're going to be looking at your customer promise, diving deeper into your customer avatars, how you are segmenting the market that you're playing in, and then looking at our 5P diamond customer promise. Well, this is the intention of how the sessions are going to go anyway, right? This morning, I will just give fair warning. I may have mixed it up a little bit intentionally, but and then in the third session, we are going to go through products and pricing, and we will be staying on, Lisa and myself, for the Q&A session immediately after that, because there is a lot today. There's a lot of critical thought on your behalf that comes into it, because I guess this is where the rubber hits the road. You know, there's been lots of inspiration on day one. Day two is about who are you, what do you stand for, and how you're going to start to look at your brands and get those out into the marketplace. Today, we're edging that a little bit closer to who are the avatars that I'm going to be serving, and exactly for what. You know, what problems are you solving for them, be it pain problems or aspirational problems, and what's the transformational experience that they're going to have by working with you or buying your product, buying your widget. And, you know, this is just further articulating that. For some of you, you might already be trading successfully. You might already have years behind you with your business. It's a great opportunity to actually just come back, review it, have a look at these activities we go through today, because they set you up for how you do your marketing. They set you up for how you have your sales conversations, and the different pathway that you're going to nurture and build trust with your clients and customers through until they do become a paying customer. So I will give warning as well. I think I shared this halfway through this morning, but I'll give you the warning up front. This is a high dynamo energy day as well. So it is about getting the what. Okay. Dynamo asks the question what. So we're saying the customer, what are their problems? What is the desired outcomes that they have? What is the product that you're going to be serving them with? What's the pricing that you're going to put on that? What's your product suite that you're going to serve them? And what's the pathway to do that? So it's a lot of dynamo energy. If you are not dynamo, be patient with yourself, be kind with yourself, because dynamos tend to thrive in this space. Doesn't mean they necessarily get it done faster than non-dynamos. It might be that too many ideas start coming up, or too many rabbit holes start opening up. But it is often that chaotic, a process that goes up and down and around and back to front, and we can feel like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get the breakthrough of clarity and that decisive moment? It comes. Dynamo energies tend to be just a little bit more okay with that, because that's how they operate. If you're not that, stick with it, right? Trust the process. Trust that these are the building blocks. Michelle Clark is coming on tomorrow. She's going to be spending all day with you. She is our queen of promotion plans. And that means, how do you take what we've been working on for these days and start bringing in the money with it? So she will be looking at, again, your customer avatar, making sure that you've got clarity on the promises and the product. Because if you don't have that piece, you can't go out there and start selling, right? Now, it then works in backwards and forwards, because you might think you have the perfect product, the perfect customer promise, that your message is super clear, and then you test it in the marketplace and it doesn't quite land. That's the purpose of going out into the marketplace, is seeing, well, one, that's the only way that you have a business, right? Otherwise, we just have a really expensive and time-consuming hobby. So it's when we start selling it out into the marketplace that you start really stepping into those stripes of having a business, and you're going to get feedback. You know, sometimes it might be that the message is not clear. Doesn't mean your product is not great, but the message is not clear. Other times it might be the message is clear, but the product isn't quite delivering upon what you said the promise was. So you might need to tweak the product. All of that happens in what we call the proof of concept stage. There's 8 stages when you are 8 stages of the enterprise, and proof of concept is number 1. What determines proof of concept is when people will then pay you money for your product or your service. After that, stage 2 is about brand attraction. And this is where you're comfortable that the product that you've got together is the right fit for the market, and you are really starting to shine the light on your product, on your offering more, so you're attracting a volume of people to you and to your company and to your brand. So it is that backwards and forwards, you know. Yellow level, it is proven concept and brand attraction. When you move into green level, which I know some of you here on the call are in, that's when it's more about your operating team. And so, excuse me, if you are, I said it yesterday, something when 1 a.m. turns over, my voice starts going. If you are at green level, it would mean that you already have a solid position in the marketplace. You already know how to make money from your product and your service. And maybe it's about transitioning into having someone else lead the promotion plan. So it's always, once a quarter, we will put our plans together and we will review what we say as to who is our avatar, how do we describe them, what's the pathway we have for them, and are our products as they need to be. So even if you're been operating for some time, take this as an opportunity to just check in, see what needs tweaking and fine tuning, and maybe you're handing the baton over to someone else to actually run these plans for you, which would be awesome for some of our green members on the call. And there's even some that are probably leaning towards blue level. So I hope that you're learning a lot too by being here. Maybe so you can be aware what your team is doing. Okay. I'm not sharing my screen anymore, am I? Let me bring that back on. Alrighty, so that is what we have in store for us today. Now, what does mastering your market actually mean? It is how well do you know your customer? And you can see this brand here that I've put an image of. They know their marketplace very, very well. None other than Apple themselves. The first part that going through this strategy, both today and also if you dive deeper into it on the Genius U platform, where we've got the whole micro degree there, number one aspect of mastering your market is how well do you know them? How well, not them, how well do you know your market? So what is the size of the market? Who are the competitors that are playing in that space? And before anybody says, I don't have any competitors, I'm so unique and special, I'm sorry, you do. Everybody has competitors. They might not be offering the same solution as you, but they are still meeting a need of your customer that maybe you're wanting to meet the need of as well. And they just might be doing it in a different way. This is how well do you know your customers, and what are their spending habits? What budget do they have that they actually want to put towards your product or your service as well? And how well do you know your market? You know, like this stall here, this produce stalls, many operators, you know, what makes this stall in the front selling pears different to the stall over the back selling pears? There's going to be something about it. We're going to look at the different ways that you add value into the market as well. It could be through an awesome product, or it could be through customer service. There's 2 different ways that you add that value. The excuse me, the other thing I would just say around the size of your market, to put that into context for you, I was referencing, I think on day 1, maybe also, yes, day 1, I mentioned Jesse Green, who has Practice Max and Savvy Dentist. So when he was starting to to pull his business together and working with clients, you know, we were looking at what is the size of the market, because he's niching into coaching for dentists and orthodontists of a particular size business. Normally it was those that are having multiple practices or wanting to scale to have multiple practices. That is a smaller size market than, say, general business, right? Even if you were to define general business, maybe you work with startups, maybe you work with scale-ups. He was going not only into a horizontal niche, but a vertical niche of orthodontists and dentists. And there was a couple of other big players in that space that had been quite established for, you know, 10 or 15 years, had an amazing suite of products and solution. So we're like, well, what makes you so special, Jessie? You know, what makes people want to come to you? And that was, he also knew what the others were doing, and he knew where the gaps were. And so he was able to focus in and really make his product even better. The other option, of course, could be, well, is it too small? Do you actually then need to say, rather than just focusing on Australia, you need to also focus on Asia as well, maybe Southeast Asia? Or it could be broadening it to not just dentists and orthodontists, but other technicians that are in that similar field as well. So this requires you to do a little bit of research. It's not just about gut feel here. And Google is going to be your best friend to start with, just to see what other businesses are out there, what are they doing, what's their pricing, and so forth. So if you have not yet Googled your industry and the type of business that you're wanting to do, definitely you'll be doing that today. The second part of mastering your market is actually, are you delivering value? And the key thing here is, it's not you who gets to determine whether you're delivering value or not. It's the customer who determines that. And they show you if they value you and your products by trusting you enough to pay you money for it. So there is an exchange of their money for your product or your service. These images really portray an unhappy customer at a cafe, right? So let's just imagine for a moment, if you go to a restaurant and the food is pretty amazing actually, but the customer service is terrible. They're super late, they're rude, they don't pay attention, you're having to call them over all the time, or they're busybody in your face all the time, but it's just not a pleasant experience. Do you value that brand enough to go back? Maybe you do. Maybe it's like, I've been many times and it was odd that it was off tonight. Or maybe that's the norm, right? If it's off once, you might go, it's okay, I know the food is great. So you essentially take some trust that you have with that brand out of the product delivery bank account, and you put it into the customer service one, which was lacking, right? So I'm high dynamo. I know that I suck at customer service. I know that when COVID hit and we had, we actually didn't lose any team, but we did have a reduction in salaries, and some team chose not to stay. My customer service lady chose not to stay, and we had a freeze on hire. So I was mentoring more than ever because it was needed more than ever. And I had no customer service person, and we had 130 clients. So I was the customer service person together with my VA, who we still have, but is a Lord profile who won't even turn her camera on during team meetings unless I keep badgering her. So I was in delivery mode 90% of the time and customer service mode 10% of the time, and things just fell through the crack. Thankfully, our beautiful clients had such a high level of trust with me because of the value they got from the delivery of the mentoring, but it carried us through, right? People were okay that balls were dropping on the customer service side, but they essentially were taking withdrawals from the trust they have on the delivery. So just look at where your weak spot is, maybe in yourself if you're the solo entrepreneur, or in your company. If, you know, sometimes companies can be high dynamo energy and be lacking the tempo energy that's needed to continue to add value to your customers through customer service and care. It could be the flip as well. It could be that you go to a restaurant and the service is delightful, it's wonderful, you feel like it's coming home, but the food is pretty average. You know, who would actually choose to go back to that? Or how often would you choose to go back? Would you go back for convenience, but not so much for an experience that you're going to bring 10 of your friends to? It's going to be different for each person, but just share with us in the chat, what would it be for you if you have great customer service but average food? Would you go back? Only for drinks? Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully the drinks are okay. Maybe, right? Yeah. What about if it was the other way? If the food was great, but customer service was terrible, would you go back? Okay, so more no's, maybes, take away, take away. Okay. Yeah, so a lot more no's on that one. So you can see where Peter's saying, yes, everyone needs a second chance. Absolutely. But if it happened on the third and the fourth and the fifth go, would you? You know, interesting. There's no right or wrong. There's plenty of restaurants that have good food and terrible service and have had their doors open for a long time. It maybe depends which country you're in as well. Some countries have much more focus on customer service and others not so much. Okay, the third aspect of this is mastering your market. Now, these brands attracted some interesting comments from this morning's lot. The Gordon Ramsay brand. I just picked someone who has, like him or not, has created a clear amount of value around what he does as a restaurateur and a chef, and is then leveraging that value by opening more stores, more restaurants. You know, it might be that you can leverage that value purely by white labeling something that you do. You could leverage it by bringing on more partners that have high trust in your brand and are going to help you exponentially grow, because rather than you going one to the clients, you go one to the partner that goes one to many clients. Maybe you're wanting to leverage it globally, or you want to take what you do in person and more of a experience. Maybe you're a coach or a consultant, and then you want to leverage that by creating some online products and programs. So you're leveraging your time, but you're also leveraging the online space that you can have. You can reach more people because it doesn't require so much of you. So these are the three aspects of mastering your market. Just let's share in the chat again, which ones resonated with you the most? Maybe it's all three. Do you feel that you need to know your market better? Do you need to check in on the value that you're delivering? Or is it time to leverage the value that you've already created? Okay, someone's saying check in on the value. All three, Katrina. Leverage, value, need to know your market better. Yeah. Value always comes before leverage as well. If you haven't got your value clear, there's no point trying to leverage it too much, right? Because it just will water down. Always build your value first, then leverage. Then you'll reach a point where you've leveraged enough that maybe those clients are saying, hey, we want something else. And because they trust you, they're coming to you for that next solution. We find that inside of Entrepreneurs Institute, there's a time when we will create more products and there's a time that we won't. The time that we do create more products is when we have leveraged that we've got a great, we've increased our market size that we're owning, and our clients are happy with our products and they're wanting more. They're saying, that's great. Now, can you help us with this? Now, can you help us with that? Or we spot the opportunity for it. Then we will create those products. But if we have saturated our market with all the products, then we need to go and get more clients, right? So rather than adding more value in, we would actually look at leveraging. So just be mindful of that. It's value first, then leverage next. Hope that's making sense to everybody. Beautiful. Okay, so the next piece that I want to just take you through is actually, let's hear how Roger explains mastering your market. So we're going to play his video. This goes for about 11 minutes. I'm just going to bring that up here. Actually, I'm going to try and be tricky first and move my Zoom off of this computer so that you don't get black boxes when I share. Let's see that I can do this. Move all my screens. All right. Can you still see my screen now, Lisa?
We can.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, I'm going to have to stop though because I didn't click share sound. Get back over there, Zoom. Mary said I need like the flight tower number of screens. I have 2 big ones, but yes, I might need 3. Okay, here we go.
Hi, and welcome to the second step at yellow level. This is going from orange to yellow, and we are going now from identify your identity to master your market. So always within these 3 steps, we're going from showing up, which is like just being clear on where you're at. And as I mentioned in the last video, when you're starting by identifying your identity, it's like I'm on the pitch now. And then mastering your market is like really mastering the game. It's like, okay, now we're playing the game. You're engaging in this gear, which then will lead us to the 3rd step, which is monetize your moment. Mastering your market is one of those interesting things where for many of us, we think we know the market. But once we actually realize just how much, by looking not from where we are and where flow isn't occurring, if we haven't yet got to a point where we've mastered it, but looking at from the point of view where the market is and how we connect with that, it can make all that difference. Now here are the 3 key things that you're going to see that all of the 10 steps within this assessment actually get linked to, and they're the 3 key things around the questions on the market. Number 1, how well do you know your market? Number 2, are you delivering the value they want? And number 3, are you effectively leveraging that value? We've talked a little bit about value and leverage and how they link, but understanding how your market gets segmented in this way is absolutely critical. I'll tell you a little story about an experience I had several years ago, and it was when I was out looking for a mentor. I had a chance to meet up with someone who has built $3 billion businesses in Europe, and his name is Mike Harris. And I got referred onto Mike, and I was in Bali at the time, Mike was in England, and we got onto a phone call because I was really looking for someone that could actually help me and could mentor me with my business. And when I was on the call with him, he was asking me questions about my business and how I was working and so on. And just keep in mind that this is someone, as I mentioned, who has had $3 billion businesses. There was one business he started up called First Direct, which became one of the leaders, in fact, one of the first companies to do telephone insurance. So this was going back several decades. He sold that business, and then he went on to a second business, which was called Mercury One-to-One, which became one of the first cell phone businesses, which also got sold in the UK. And then a third business called Egg, which was the first European online bank, which was back in the 1990s, which again became worth more than $1 billion and sold to one of the large banking groups in the UK. And so I was all excited having this conversation with him, and he was going to teach me all these different things. He asked me a series of questions about the business, and then at the end of it, he says, well, Roger, it looks like you're doing a pretty good job with your business, and the only thing I'd say is maybe just, segment your market a little bit more. And that was it. And I remember I was a bit underwhelmed by this. I was thinking, wow, I've only got like 10 more minutes of this phone call with Mike, and I'm really not sure if I really got value out of this call or not. And so there's parts in my mind, there's part of me thinking, well, maybe you can't help me. And then there's another part which was like, wait a minute, Roger, you're speaking to someone who has run $3 billion businesses. If you can't get value from this call, whose fault is that? Is that Mike's or is that yours? So I realized I clearly wasn't asking good enough questions. And so I said to him, okay, Mike, you mentioned about market segmentation. Can you share with me an example where you went and did that and that made a big difference in your business? And he says, oh, sure I can. When we started up Egg, we called it Egg because we thought that our market was those kind of like yuppies, the up and coming career-minded 20, 30-year-olds who actually wanted to have a bank where they didn't have to go into the high street branch. So that's why we called it Egg. We thought it would make it something a bit different. However, as we started growing, we plateaued and we decided we needed to do something different. And always at that time in a business, I know it's time for us to really get focused at the market. So we brought in a team who could then look at the market and come back and report on us. So they did, and they came back after doing this research in the market on banking, and they said, did you know that the entire banking sector has got 5 different segments within it? Currently, you are in one of 3 segments that you could dominate, and you're actually in the one which is the least profitable. And suddenly I was interested. I was like, well, what did they say? And they said, well, what they said was the one that you're focused at are the ones where, frankly, those people who are using it just for their own personal banking, they don't really have that much money. They're not that interested in the banking anyway. So there's a limited amount that you're going to be making from that group. There's 2 other groups you could get involved in. One group is basically those companies or company owners that are maybe more like in their 40s or 50s. They already run their own business. They might be traders, they might be professionals, where they want more from their bank than simply just having a retail bank. And if they had online tools, if they had ways to manage and track their own financing, they're much more likely to use your bank, but it means you need to provide them with different tools than you're providing for your first segment. I go, huh. And he says, and then there's a third segment, which is the most profitable of all. And the third segment are those super rich people that are so private about how they go about investing and how they go about transferring their money. They don't even want a private banker to be in there doing that for them. They'd rather have some access to online banking that allows them to do that themselves. But for that group, they're interested in a whole number of different things. They want more security. They want less tools, but ways that they can actually be more global in the way that they're doing their banking. And that's a far, far bigger market and a far, far bigger part of your business. He said as a result of that segmenting the market, when he went and then broke down into those 3, and they actually set up teams in each of those 3, that's what took that business from a $100 million business to a $1 billion business. It was that one thought of me coming off that call in the last 10 minutes, which was, I got to master my market. I have a clear identity. I'm now known within Asia as someone who is supporting entrepreneurs and educating entrepreneurs. But I really haven't segmented my market to the extent that I really understand who is it for that person who just wants to get some online information and would rather have it for free. In the same way I'm providing all of this for free just with the book, because I know that there are many, including perhaps yourself, that really don't want to spend a lot of money on education, but is willing to invest your time to be part of that. What about a different market? Those who are willing to actually come for events, who are willing to come and actually go through an experience. And what if we had a series of resorts around the world that can actually support and look after that group of people that are committed at a high level, willing to invest more of both time and money? Well, we'd need to have a whole different team that would look after that group. And what about those who are actually looking for personal mentoring? Those who already have successful businesses, who already see as a business expense ongoing learning? Well, of course, that would need also a very different group of tools and services that we'd be providing for that group as well. By understanding your market in this specific way, which is what this assessment allows you to do, it allows you to make that real connection between what you're passionate about and what you stand for, and a way that you really connect in with that market in such a way that you're speaking directly to them. You're going to find whether you're interested in an online business, whether you have a retail store, whether you have some kind of a professional company or a trading store or a creative organization, whatever it is, it's the same pattern and the same steps that get taken to get clear in your identity, and then to get clear on exactly how you connect with that market in a way that speaks to them. So that's exactly what this is all about. As you go through this, make sure that you're working through each of them on the assessment. Then after taking the assessment and seeing what your number is, and don't be surprised if it's a low number, go back and work on those through the playbook. By the time you're done, you're going to find that there are 3 very specific things you're going to be able to tick a big yes to on the pre-flight checklist. First one is, number 1, I have sized my market, I know my competitors, and what my unique market position and market share is and will be. Number 2, I have segmented my market and designed my time and business around the different needs of my customers. And number 3, I have systems and a rhythm that keeps me close to my customers, my competitors, and the market shapers. One thing I want to share here as well, which is really key, is I give a story within this chapter in the book around network marketing. And this is with Kevin and Tamsin, who run Network 21, one of the largest networking groups in Africa. And how when they were seeing themselves, having created this attraction for themselves within their team, they saw many people within their team that were out there chasing the business, like orange level. It's the same for agencies, real estate agents, insurance agents, self-employed. Too often, even in the business that we're in, we're out chasing the business like everybody else. And when they started learning about these different levels, and we put in place a program which allowed them to go to their entire network, and we call it network dynamics, and allows their entire network to, instead of go chasing the business, have it being attracted to them through their individual geniuses, and for each of them providing something unique. So the Dynamo geniuses had a group that were all doing creative things. The Blaze geniuses all showed up for, great parties and events that they all wanted to be part of. Tempo geniuses were all about the proof and the referrals of what was really working. The Steel geniuses were all about multiplying something very specific, just like Hattie did, which you could actually just follow that process and follow it through. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever industry, you're going to find that when you set a really clear identity, and then you set a clarity with the market where then you're speaking to them in a way that's unique to you, every single one of us can do that. We have huge opportunities all over the world to be able to carve our own niche. And today it's easier to have a global business than ever, where you can take that niche and grow it to build a tribe all over the world. So what does it feel like when this is working? What it feels like is you start getting to true attraction and you start controlling that flow. You can say, right, I'm now looking to make this extra money, and now your market's willing to respond to you. It's like having the South Pole and then the North Pole gets connected to it. But if you are not yet there, you're going to know it because you're still going to be chasing the business. You're going to be waking up saying, I don't know how to make the $10,000. I don't know, what it is I need to do, which is going to improve the turning on the tap. So that's the difference between the two. Another way to think about this is think about the difference of a black and white TV that keeps on going off tune, or going to one of those hotels where like the plumbing's not working well and you go in the shower and it keeps on going hot and cold, where you have no control over flow, compared to being at a point where you can now fine tune that radio or that TV, where you can fine tune the plumbing so you get out exactly what it is that you want. It's that ability to be able to predict and fine tune to where you want it to get to, which allows you to get up at the zeros to the 10,000, 100,000 and $1 million mark, which is where we're now going to move to as we go up to the next level of yellow and into green.
Okay. Thank you, Roger. Let's give him a little round of applause. Now while I find my screens again. Back in control. There we go. So some more words of wisdom there. What little aha moments popped through for you as you were hearing that? Let's actually grab some expressions in person. You can put your hand up if you want, or you can open up your mic to share. Let's see if we've got any new brave people today. If not, I'm going to choose.
What's the question?
Did you
Lynn
hear
has
that
her hand up.
video from Roger? Yeah, what was your biggest takeaway from that? While you're contemplating that, we'll come over to the ladies that got their hand up. Lynn, hi Lynn, good to see you again.
Anna, thank you. My aha moment would be I thought it was delivering value, which is further on, but as I hear Rogers talking about it, I think I have to go back to the very beginning, which is knowing and mastering your market again. Because I think it's huge, even though I've been in the industry, which is the beauty, the nail industry for 28 years, but things have changed. And I think I kind of step up, I jump a little bit further than I should. So that kind of take me back a little bit. So appreciate that video. Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, and remember, it's like a staircase. So it's like you are delivering value, Lynn. I understand your business. You're delivering immense value. But yes, you might need to go back and, it's that it is the dynamo energy, the value. I'll share with you a slide. Here we go. I'm already going off track. Stay with me, guys and girls. Sorry, Lisa. When you look at the different ways that value is created in the business, it's either through this dynamo energy here. Sorry, it's grayscale, this picture. Through products, which is either innovating, extending, or enhancing products, or it is through the tempo energy and the way that you're doing your customer service and your delivery. It could be like logistics and procurement, things like that. So if you think of dynamo, it's the spring energy, right? And spring energy, in order to have new growth on, say, your garden, you need to go and remove dead wood, remove the leaves, the branches from the trees, the shrubs, the plants that they've done their job. It's time to cut them off so that more energy can go into new regrowth. That is often what it means each time you're going up another stair with the value. So you're cutting away the dead wood, you're fine-tuning, you're tweaking things. That no longer serves us. Let's add this in, or, let's do more with less. Does that make sense, Lynn?
Yeah, it does. Thank you, Donna.
Awesome. Very good. And we have Hildegard with her high-fiving hand up as well. What was your aha moment?
Yeah, for me, it's all about really figuring out precisely the niche that I can occupy in the market. I know it's a $41 billion market, the personal development, coaching, whatever you want to label it is, wellness industry. But where do I, with my uniqueness, fit in? This is a big question that was popping up in my head listening to Roger.
Awesome. Well, we're going to dive into that in the session after the break. So hold on tight for half an hour more, and then we'll be jumping into that as well. So I'm going to take you all through now just what these 10 questions are. It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour just to give you more perspective as to what they mean. Then after the break, we're going to come back and start breaking down your customer avatar, which does mean looking at your niche and who is your ideal avatars, looking at them in segments, and then what are their problems. But let me take you through the 10 questions. I'm not going to read this here. This is just showing you that in your submission, you will have this, same as yesterday. You had them for identify your identity. So that will be there. You can come through the questions and score. It's also on the yellow level Startup Success Micro Degree. So these 10 questions are here as the assessment. I do want to explain them a little more, because this is often where, like I said earlier, before you go and launch, you got to get this bit right. As much as you can, and then do the dance between the two. So the first question out of the 10 is, have you identified your market size, and the need they have that you can fulfill? So we spoke about that a little bit earlier. If you like, you can score as you go along with me today. That's certainly one way to get it done. So 10 out of 10 is yes. You can tell me, right, I'm in, this is the market size, this is how many people are in it, and this is how I can fulfill it. I was sharing this morning, for some, this might take some research, right? Not just the intuition. The private client that I have, that I've mentioned, they've got the organic soil supplements and fertilizers. There is a market that they haven't yet tapped into, and that is sugarcane. And they've trialed their product with some of the farmers, and it has delivered outstanding results. But part of this market research was not only how many farmers are there, what's the potential sales into that area, who do they have as resources that can do it, but it was the whole logistics and application as well. Because what they found was that for the farmers to actually spread that fertilizer, it needs to be granulated. And the granulation is not something that their current product has. So they really had to do their due diligence to go, if we enter into that market, which theoretically looks very profitable, how much do we need to spend for the equipment to be able to do that? Now, the piece of equipment, and I shared this with the group, one piece of equipment is 200,000. The other piece of the equipment is another 200,000. But the issue is they need a bigger shed to actually fit it all in. So then a shed build, they could do a temporary extension, or really time to upgrade the whole operation and build a $4 million shed. So just by saying there's this one sector that's really profitable, you can see there's so many decisions that need to come off the back of that, and the due diligence into that market size, the need, can you fulfill it, is a little bit more than a hunch and having a crack at it, right? It requires a bit more planning in that. So that is what question number 1 is all about. Question number 2 is, do you know your 3 biggest competitors, the solutions that they deliver, the prices that they charge, and how they have become successful? And maybe in some of the research, you'll learn a little bit of the pitfalls and the obstacles they came up against as well, and how they overcome them. How do you find the 3 biggest competitors? Again, if you're in that world, you'll probably have a sense of knowing, but do your research. Sometimes there are the quiet competitors. Maybe they're not the ones making the loudest noise, but they have such a solid following, or they've got partnerships that they leverage off of, and they are a big competitor for you still. Lisa, I'm just going to ask, sorry, if you can let me know if there's anything in the chat I need to look at. I just haven't got all my screen.
Yeah, I don't think so right now. Thanks.
Cool. So you can score, if you like, out of 0 to 10. How well do you know your competitors? Next question. Do you have 3 distinct market segments and customer avatars for each one? The example up here carries on from what Roger was saying in that video. Like, what does he have in terms of serving the avatar that really is looking for free content and online learning? Now, this is an old segmentation that I put up here. It just serves the purpose still. Really good to see the distinction. So here there's 3 avatars: foundation, in a job, trying to get started, little disposable income, and the pathway of products there for them, you can see, goes from free up to high, but the high still actually doesn't have a price point on it, or it might have at one stage had $9 or something like that on there. But predominantly it's still saying start here, then do this, then do this, then do this, but it is mostly free content. The second avatar, and we still have this, we have Foundation Fred, and we have Enterprise Ella, and we have Emerald Ian. We do have more avatars as well, but these are the main three inside of Entrepreneurs Institute that fit in startup and scale up streams. So the enterprise guys, startup phase, 100K to 500K, need a team, budget to learn, and are at yellow level. That is probably a lot of you here on the call. And then you can see that there are products that we do to serve them, right? But there's a clear distinction. There's not a big description written on this slide, but you get the gist of it in the breakup of that segmentation. The Emerald clients have an established business, 500K to 5 million, looking to 10 times, so exponentially grow, and tend to be at that green or blue level. So we have a different suite of a different pathway. And here, just to look at, templates is the first thing in the free for the Emerald clients. That's because often our Emerald clients they'll watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos on the Entrepreneur TV, but they don't necessarily have time to watch all of them. I remember when Roger was putting out a lot of them, I was like, these are amazing. And I was watching them, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't got enough time. And I'd save them in my inbox, and then I'd never get back to them. And then when I want some inspiration, I'll go to that. But if I got a template in my inbox that I could give to my team that we could implement immediately, maybe it was on how to run an effective meeting, or how to communicate your vision and set up your quarterly plan, and all the whole templates were there, that I would jump at. And then, so it's about defining your products to suit each of the avatars. Okay, doesn't mean that they won't be interested in the things on offer in the other segments, but there tends to be ones that will work more effectively for them. Then even when it comes to pricing, let's say Enterprise Circle is normally around 12,000, and then we have, which is high on the Enterprise path. But then we have Masters, which is 8,000, which is called a low product on the Emerald path. And we have Alchemy, which we don't actually have Alchemy now, we have Indigo Circle, and that is like 50,000. And so the price points are very different from high to low as well. So you can have a score, score yourself there on that question. Do you have 3? Do you know them? If you don't know, then you would score low. Number 4, do you have a clear and unique customer promise that has a clear message, mission, and story that brings to life your customer promise for each avatar? You can score yourself there. We're going to dive into that one after the break. Question 5 is, do you have unique products that provide better solutions than your competitors to your customers in each market segment? So do you have unique products that provide better solutions? You might think, hey, I've got a product. Is it unique? I can't tell you what that is. So no, you're going to score lower. Are you providing a better solution? Well, maybe you are. So just where you feel that you're at on that. This is just an example of, it's often when you start thinking about what's your formula, what's your model, your framework, your recipe, your IP, your thing that makes yours special and unique. So Roger has his Wealth Lighthouse that we've been learning about, and the profiles. This is a framework for high performance, high performing teams. This is something that myself and a colleague put together for both our businesses, actually. This is my clients that I'm talking about, the organic fertilizers. They actually have a very unique recipe, and it includes where once it's mixed and everything, it actually gets blessed. It was put together by the founder and also a Swiss scientist helping with that remedy, and it's just an amazing product. So what is it that's unique about your product and your offering? Question 6. Do you have market prices that have been effectively tailored for your market? I couldn't help myself with that image when I found it because I think we
love
can
it.
all relate. The cost of petrol at the moment is either an arm or a leg or both. So yes, do you have prices that are tailored for your market? And this might go, you might have to change them. You know, when COVID came in, we did lower our prices. You don't have to. It's one strategy. It's a strategy that we chose. But you want to look at, are they tailored for your market? And also, does everything else actually line up with that? I went to a business conference recently. It was 4 days. I actually was naughty and went in on the last 2 days because my client went, and it was not part of our Entrepreneurs Institute network. So I was busy. I said, look, I'll come on the Saturday and the Sunday with you. And I listened through the course. It was remarkable. It was a wonderful course. And the mentor on it was amazing and very, very, very successful. I learned some really key things, but 90% of the time I went, okay, this is kind of what we do. But hang on, my clients paid $10,000 for 4 tickets to be there. And this was not too long ago, and I was writing the content for this program. And I was like, you know what, we're teaching that actually on our micro school. You paid how much for this ticket? And we're what? So, you know, I know the micro school wasn't 2,500, but I will tell you, having gone to that, and the room was frothing at the sharings and the information, I was kind of pretty proud what we're offering up to our clients. And does that mean we've tailored it right for our market? I think we have, but have we got our message right in that? Could we actually attract a higher price if we spoke to, you know, a different segment of the market? Maybe, you know, this is what you always look at. This is the things that Michelle Clark and Roger and the team were always looking at, going, where do our prices fit? What should they be? So that it not only supports our customers, but it supports our mission as well, you know, to get to as many people and help as many entrepreneurs as we can. Don't worry, we're not going to be charging anyone $2,500 or $5,000 for this program. The 7th question is, do you have a way to protect your products? So as you grow, customers will continue to return. That's the key thing, continue to return to you, and your business will grow. We've kind of spoken about this already, right? This is what you're talking about as well, Lynn, where you're always assessing the value and the leverage component and making sure that that's growing and evolving as it needs to. And this is what I was sharing. The different ways that you can increase value is through the dynamo or the tempo. The ways that you can increase your leverage is either through people, which can be partnerships, collaborations, team, you know, more people, or it can be through the multiply side, which is through automation, you know, maybe taking a product, chunking it down into smaller pieces and selling more of them, versus magnification is, how do we take the many things and make them one or make them a couple and make it bigger and more of an experience. Okay, so you should have a score for that one. Number 8, you have routes to reach your customers and for them to reach you. In a nutshell, it means, is it easy for people to get to come and work with you? Or is it impossible to find you? You know, is it that they heard about you once, but unless they really took note, there's no way to easily find you and get your products or your services? So this is an example of one of Michelle Nolting's pathways that she's put together for both startup and partners. So you can see it starts with ads that come on or partner referrals. People might download an e-guide on a how-to topic and then come into a Wealth Dynamics experience. Some of you may have done that. You might have spent 2 hours with Roger, or maybe even a 4-hour. I think this is her partner's pathway, actually, being Wealth Dynamics. And then there's a GE festival, so a Global Entrepreneurs Festival, which has challenges and summits. All of this is free. Then there is an offer to look at the Wealth Dynamics 5.0 packs. So the first point that there's a price point. There might be a price point for the summit if you're going in person, but otherwise the tickets are free, and we're probably focusing on giving free tickets by the looks of that. Then there could be an offer to attend a Wealth Dynamics workshop, 2 hours, 4 hours each day. I think that's what it means. I think that means that I'm going to be delivering that by the sounds of things. Should have checked this before I'm declaring it publicly to all you guys. And there, I remember I did that last year. There's a Wealth Dynamics Founders Roundtable activation call. Founders Roundtable is a great way that we get a smaller group, normally 3 or 4 businesses, with either myself or Michelle Clark or Michelle Nolting if it's around partnerships, where you get more personal mentoring, specifically on your challenges and the opportunities. And from there, we see if we might want to work together further. Being a startup or a partner's pathway, they're a smaller step. So you can see that price points are like $270 to $3,800. And then from there, some people will stop at the e-guide. Some will come to the 2 hour and go no further. Some will take up the report packs and do the workshop and end there for a while and maybe loop around in here. And then others will go, oh, now I'm ready to actually jump over and have this kind of transformation. Okay. Could be the Spectrum Microschool. You guys are on that right now. Could be our GEM program. Could be a GAP program, which is our Genius Accelerator program, a 12-week one with one of the Michelles, or it could be our master's program. Others are like, oh my gosh, I've got bigger problems than that. Can I jump straight on over into one of the Crystal Circle year-long mentoring programs? And we would see which level is the right fit for you. So there will, or masters, or being one of our partners. Creating this pathway is essential because it enables you to really understand how to build trust with your ideal customers and have a clear path for them to be able to find you. Some people are going to leapfrog, as I said, others will work their way through that journey. That's what this here is all about. And I put that on the slides because you will possibly want to reference it later in the next session. Question 9 is, do you have mechanisms in place that encourage and reward customers and partners to refer you? So essentially a referral program spreading ongoing word of mouth. There's lots of examples. Could be where you're paying out commissions. It could be you're a cafe and you're doing the loyalty card of buy 5 copies, get 1 coffees, get 1 free. And then maybe there's a coffee shop down the road 100 meters that has buy 10 coffees or 20 coffees and get 1 free. I mean, that's kind of compelling to get buy 5 and get 1 free, you're probably going to tell your friends about it. If coffee cards are your thing, I get them all the time and I just say thank you and then I never remember to use them. So question number 10 is, do you have a hot list of your top 20 customers and partners that you have a personal connection with and you know their greatest needs and dreams? This is important because this is where, you know, Lynn, coming back to your comment, you can really tune in and go, out of your top customers and partners, these are going to be the ones that you enjoy working with, that spend the most amount of money with you as well. What else do they need? What else is it they're aspiring to? And so specifically make a list so that you can have a conversation with them. If you have been scoring as you go along, add those up. And I have gone 5 minutes over time. So what we might do is take a break now, Lisa, and I will give you guys a break from hearing me. And you can add it up during the break. We'll still take 15 minutes. When we come back, we'll just see what your scores are. And then we're going to get into the customer promises. So I know that was a lot of information to take in, but hopefully it gives you an understanding of the full components we're looking at here to master your market. All right, team, let's come back in 15 minutes. We'll see you at 20 past.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good.